Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS, and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, guys. Today we're diving into some explosive rumors that could reshape the NFC East, and more specifically, the Washington Commanders' offensive outlook for the upcoming season. You know how much we love to analyze potential moves that could turn a team's fortunes around, and this one is no different. According to whispers from Diana Rossini, one of the most reliable NFL insiders, the New Orleans Saints, who are currently sitting at a disappointing 1-7 record and in the midst of a major rebuild, are considering a blockbuster trade that could send shockwaves through the division. The Saints, struggling with a weak offense and a depleted cap space, around $15 million for 2026, are eyeing a strategic move to unload one of their promising young wide receivers, Chris Olave, in exchange for some valuable draft capital. And that's where it gets really interesting. The Saints are reportedly willing to send Olave to Washington in exchange for a second-round pick in 2026 and a sixth-rounder in 2027. Now, before we go any further, let's understand the context. The Saints are in a tough spot right now. They've got a roster that's heavily focused on youth, especially after parting ways with their veteran quarterback, Derek Carr, who had a decent but not spectacular season and was part of a team that struggled to find consistency on offense. Their defense is slightly better, but their offensive struggles have been glaring, averaging just 18 points per game. The cap situation is a mess, with a $15 million deficit heading into 2026, which makes them look for ways to free up room. Hence the potential trade of Olave, a player who's showing so much promise and really has the ability to explode downfield. And what about Washington? Well, they're sitting pretty with around $23 million in cap space, which is enough to make a move like this. The Commanders, after a decent season with some flashes of brilliance, especially from Jahan Dotson, who's been a reliable target, are desperately in need of a playmaking receiver. Remember, McLaurin has been battling a quad injury, which caused him to miss 4 games, and without his presence, the offense has looked a little less explosive. Their receiving yards per game have fallen significantly, around 220 yards without McLaurin, so adding a player like Olave would be a game-changer for this offense. Olave, drafted in 2022 with the 11th pick overall, has already proven in his short career that he's a deep threat with elite separation skills. His stats are impressive. 850 receiving yards up to September 15, 2025 with 22 touchdowns averaging 1 yards per reception. That's a true home run hitter. In 2025 alone, Olave has caught 45 passes for 680 yards in just 8 games. His best game, that came in Week 3 against the Falcons, where he racked up 132 yards. And get this, his PFF grade is an outstanding 89.2, putting him in the top 15 among wide receivers in the league. His yards after catch, 310 yards, which shows he's not just a deep threat, he's a yards after the catch monster. His separation percentage is elite at 82%, and he's forced 13 missed tackles, demonstrating his ability to turn short catches into big gains. And despite a shoulder injury in 2024, Olave has shown incredible hands with a drop rate of just 3%. When it comes to contested catches, he's in the top league, winning 22% of those tight battles. So why would the Saints consider trading him? Well, it all circles back to their financial situation. With limited cap space and a focus on building for the future, they're prioritizing youth and draft assets. Olave, being just in his second year, fits that mold perfectly. They see him as a potential building block, but the immediate need to improve their cap situation and find a more balanced roster might force their hand. Plus, their offense has been stagnant, averaging only 18 points per game, which is far below what they need to compete consistently. Trading Olave would free up around $12 million in cap space, giving them more flexibility to address their defense or other offensive upgrades. Now, for the Commanders, this move could be a real shot in the arm. Adding Olave would immediately boost their projected receiving yards by around 100 yards, significantly elevating their aerial attack. His presence would complement Dotson perfectly, Imagine the threat of Olave's deep speed aligning with Dotson's YAC ability. This duel could become a nightmare for defenses. The numbers tell us that Olave, with his knack for explosive plays, would push their big play frequency from 12 per game to potentially 18. That's an increase of 50% in explosive plays, which is huge when you consider how much that can change the momentum of a game. And it's not just about the big plays, it's about the overall efficiency. With Olave stretching the field, the play-action game would become more effective, and that would help reduce sacks for Sam Howell or whoever is under center. Their success rate in the red zone could also see a dramatic improvement, jumping from 55% to around 65%. And speaking of the quarterback, Daniel's return to full health and his chemistry with Olave could be a defining factor. Olave's ability to win contested catches, over 22%, means he can help convert those critical third downs and red zone opportunities. His yards per route run, about 2.8, which is solid, especially considering he's often targeted deep downfield. When you add all of this up, it paints a picture of a more dynamic, explosive offense that can challenge defenses vertically and horizontally. Now, let's talk about the potential playoff implications. If the Commanders acquire Olave, their chances of making a deep postseason run increase substantially. The betting odds for winning the Super Bowl could shift from around +5-0 to closer to +3-0 based on the boost in offensive firepower. Olave, in his playoff debut against the Cowboys, a team that's allowed over 230 passing yards per game, could be a real X-factor. His ability to stretch the field would open up more options for Howell and the offense overall. This addition could elevate the Commanders from a team fighting for a wild card to a legitimate NFC threat, maybe even pushing their win projections up by around 2-5 wins in simulations. That's a massive jump and could be the difference between a first-round exit and a deep playoff push. So what does this all mean? Well, it's a move that electrifies the Commanders' offense, giving them a true game-changer at wide receiver. It's a strategic play that could set the tone for the next few seasons, especially if they manage to surround Olave with other pieces like Robinson Jr., who's been effective with 4.3 yards per carry. The balance of the offense would improve, and with a more potent passing game, the team's ceiling rises dramatically. For the Saints, this trade makes sense in the long run, as they focus on building a young, cap-friendly roster that can compete in a few years, especially if they hit on those draft picks. All of this points to an exciting future for the Washington Commanders. They're not just looking to compete, they're aiming to contend. If this trade happens, it would be a clear statement of intent, a signal that the Commanders are serious about turning their offense into one of the league's most explosive units. Imagine a future where Howell has Olave streaking down the sideline, Dotson working underneath, and Robinson Jr. pounding the ball between the tackles. That's the kind of offense that can make noise in the playoffs, and it all starts with making strategic moves now. And remember, guys, this is just the beginning. The NFL is full of surprises, and the trade deadline is always a hotbed of activity. If the Commanders pull this off, it could be the catalyst for a turnaround that sets the franchise on a new trajectory, one that leads them to Super Bowl contention sooner than we might have expected. The NFC East is evolving, and the Commanders are positioning themselves to be at the forefront of this shift. So stay tuned, keep your eyes peeled, because I promise you, this story isn't over yet. Season is just heating up, and with moves like this, the NFC landscape could look very different soon. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Washington Commanders news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential move? Do you believe adding Chris Olave will elevate the team to new heights? How do you see this impacting their chances in the NFC and ultimately a Super Bowl run? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of this team. Remember, this is a community and your voice helps shape the conversation. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more insights, and more detailed breakdowns of what's happening in the NFL, and of course with a focus on the Washington Commanders. So stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's keep this passion alive. The journey to another Super Bowl isn't just a dream. With moves like this, it could become a reality sooner than we think. Thanks for watching and see you next time.